Hi, I'm Stan Connors, and this is Crash Course U.S. History. Today we will venture into the vast, unknown, and untamed world that is the Wild Wild West. Not only will we be focusing on the expansion of Western United States, but also the lives of the pioneers who strove to make it a reality. These certain people included immigrants, miners, homesteaders, Native Americans, and my personal favorite, John Wayne, the American cowboy. Because of their massive contribution to the taming of a vast, unknown territory, it is vital to understand and appreciate their importance and the impact their actions have on the growth of our nation.
Cowboys ain't easy to love and they're hard to hold. But they'd rather give you a song than diamonds or gold.
Lone Star belt buckles and old fade.
So when you say cowboys, are we going to be talking about Woody from Toy Story and his endeavors with my childhood hero, Buzz Lightyear?
No, you idiot!
Know me from the past. We're going to have an in-depth explanation of many events and hardships pioneers faced, such as cattle drives, where cowboys would herd cattle over long distances and end in cities like Wichita and Dodge City. So when we talk about miners, are we going to be discussing Joe Montana and the NFL team, the 49ers? No, shut up, Cole from 8th period. We will be talking about 49ers, but not the type that threw around the pigskin and wore tight pants, but rather those who wore blue jeans, invented by Levi Strauss. Now, let's drive this concept of the American West home. Now, over to Vivek.
The motivations and desires for westward expansions first came due to the discovery of gold in California in the year 1848. Following this paramount event, a population expansion occurred in areas such as Basin, Montana, Denver, Colorado, and many other cities across the rapidly expanding westward territory.
Nice.
Due to the positive and increasingly popular image of gold minings, many prospective miners uprooted themselves from the east and went west to seek economic prosperity. And when I say miners, I swear she was 18. However, this success was very limited, and many men came to face the harsh reality of empty pockets. Towns that were once prosperous and overflowing with prospective miners soon became desolate, empty ghost towns as the miners returned home to the east, facing the harsh reality that they were unsuccessful in finding riches.
The construction of the Transcontinental Railroad, starting in the 1860s, was crucial to the development of the cowboy, because without the railroads, the cowboys would have no way for their product to reach eastern markets. These railroads took many years to construct, and often were built by immigrant labor, such as Chinese on the West Coast.
And after 6 years and over 1,000 miles of track laid, they finally met in Promontory Point, Utah.
Cattle would be herded to railroad stations, where they would then be shipped to meat packing factories, like in cities like Chicago and Cincinnati.
Oh, it's time for the mystery document? Servant boy! Let's get right to it. The cars now run nearly to the summit of the Sierras. 4,000 laborers were at work, 1/10 Irish, the rest Chinese. They were a great army laying siege to nature in her strongest citadel. The rugged mountains looked like stupendous anthills. They swarmed with celestials, shoveling, wheeling, carting, drilling, and blasting rocks and earth, while their dull, moony eyes stared out from under immense basket hats like umbrellas. At several dining camps, we saw hundreds sitting on the ground, eating soft-boiled rice with chopsticks as fast as terrestrials could with soup ladles. Irish laborers received $30 per month and board. Chinese, $31, boarding themselves. After a little experience, the latter. This is a real doozy. Ugh! Well, it talks about immigrants, and it does say Irish. Scotland's next to Ireland. Mary, Queen of Scots, the whore of Babylon, in her commencement address.
No. Why would... Oh, you're an idiot. Albert D. Richardson, in his book Beyond the Mississippi.
Here comes the shock pen.
No, we don't have a shock pen.
Excuse me?
Yeah, we don't have a shock pen. We kind of have something different in store for you for the punishment.
Let's go to the thought bubble for a further understanding of many Americans' journey west.
As you see here, we have a young man aspiring to be a lonesome cowboy in the American West. A lot of the times when traveling west, Americans face many obstacles and dangerous people. For example, we have a United Airlines worker. This caused extreme chaos among Americans. Also, when traveling west, especially through the Great Plains region, Americans would come across Native Americans. These altercations were not always bloodless. There were many casualties on both sides, as you can see. Oftentimes, Americans not carrying any weapons would be raided. Native American tribes such as the Sioux and Cheyenne were hostile to Americans traveling through their lands. Especially after the railroad was built, Native Americans were belligerent to oncoming Americans. Along with Native Americans, many Westerners faced obstacles in the landscape out west, such as rivers and mountains like the Sierra Nevada and the Rocky Mountains. When traveling over these rivers or mountains, many Americans were ill-prepared and often drowned or froze to death.
This proved to be a hefty obstacle for many settlers, and many had to face the harsh reality of returning home. However, those who managed to get past it were able to live out here in the West, combined with the Great Plains along with the Rocky Mountains. Along with this great view, there was also an increase in livestock, and the cultivation for it became increasingly popular over the years.
Some people who were exposed to these beautiful, untamed lands were motivated to protect them. This ushered the movements of John Muir and Theodore Roosevelt to protect Western lands. For those lucky Americans who made it all the way to their destination, many of them experienced happiness and economic prosperity in towns or cities like San Francisco, the iconic City by the Bay. This has been the Thought Bubble, reliving and experiencing journeys to the American West.
The origins of the first cowboy came from parts in Spain with the 16th century conquistadors who brought horses to the Americas. Embedded in cowboy history is their conflicts with Native Americans. The Indian Wars were conflicts between American settlers and Native Americans during Manifest Destiny and the Indian Removal Act. Now let's talk about the average life of a cowboy. The cowboy's life was full of hard work. He would rise before the sun, have a quick breakfast of bacon, beans, bread, and coffee, then saddle up for another 18-hour day in the saddle. If he was lucky, he might catch a few hours of sleep on his bedroll under the stars. But if it was his night to tend the herd, sleep would have to wait. Cowboys came from many walks of life. Often former criminals, they were a hard bunch of men, and fights among cowboys were a regular occurrence. In Hollywood movies, the cowboys are often hyped up to be strong, rugged, and unbreakable. However, these movies do not illustrate the hunger and low wages that many cowboys had to suffer for. Contrary to popular culture, there were cowgirls who worked hand in hand with cowboys. The modern-day cowboy exists because cattle ranching has become a big business. Cowboys have overcome technology advances in agriculture, but have not lost their importance. The yeoman farmer of Jeffersonian democracy had a great impact on American politics during the 1840s to 1850s. The Homestead Act of 1862 encouraged Western migration by providing settlers public land. Homesteading is the lifestyle of self-sufficiency, characterized by subsistence agriculture, home preservation of foodstuffs, and may involve small-scale production of textiles, clothing, and craftwork. The homesteaders ultimately led to the cowboys declining because the homesteaders implemented barbed wire and settlements, which led to the cowboys not being able to effectively transport cattle.
The cowboys were often known for embodying rough lifestyles, such as John Wayne here and Bob Younger here. But that's nothing new. Because this is America!
Exit bald eagle! Squawk!
And now, a question before we leave. Were the initial settlers of the American West the true spark plug for the imperialism of the late 19th and early 20th century, such as the Spanish-American War and the annexation of Hawaii? Thanks for watching. We'll see you next episode.